as a written record. Members of the public may access the meeting or participate in the following ways. Individuals who wish to watch may view it on the District Summerland YouTube channel, live or recorded. youtube.com, District of Summerland. If you wish to speak during the meeting but have not registered in advance, you may connect to the meeting by calling the meeting conference line at 778-907-2071 and entering meeting ID 506-489-9374 and passcode 485186. After I have provided everyone who is pre-registered with an opportunity to comment, the floor will be open to those on the conference line. And so that's during the 2 public comment opportunities. Are there any late items, Deputy Corporate Officer?
There are no items, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Barkwill and Councillor Holmes, all in favor? Thank you. And adoption of the minutes of June the 28th, the Committee of the Whole, and then our regular afternoon meeting. Councillor Holmes and Councillor Carlson, all in favor? Thank you. No delegations today. I will ask Dallas if there is anyone waiting to speak with us.
There is no one waiting to speak.
Okay, thank you. So we're on to our afternoon business item, 7.1, Development Services Fees and Charges Bylaw Update, which was deferred from the June 14th meeting, and I'll pass this over to Brad.
Thank you, Your Worship. So following the direction from Council on the June 14th meeting to defer consideration of this proposed amendment bylaw until there was feedback provided from the Development Process Improvement Committee, I can advise Council that the Development Process Improvement Advisory Committee had a meeting on June 23rd, and members provide a number of comments on the proposed amendment bylaw to the Development Services Fees and Charges, and I could just summarize a bit of their comments. They see that the district is already seeing revenue increases due to the inflationary construction prices that are occurring within the construction industry. So therefore, the district should be cautious in raising fees further because we are already should be experiencing revenue gains because of that inflationary increase of construction. There were some concerns of having 2 standards, both for regulations and fees for retail liquor and retail cannabis. They felt that there should be further restrictions for retail cannabis. That they felt that the gap in fees required for non-professional relied applications versus professionally relied applications should be larger to encourage the use of professionals. That the plumbing permit should be a flat fee instead of a per fixture fee, and that the property information request fee that was proposed originally to Council at $50, and right now we're currently not charging for that added service, that we reduce it down to $25 was their proposal. So staff has further amended the proposed bylaw number 2021-025 to reflect all of these requests. Specifically with regards to the reduced fee for relying on professionals, we've recommended that we reduce the fee from currently it's $9 per $1,000 of construction value to $8 per $1,000 of construction value. And currently our building permit fee is $10 per $1,000 of construction value. So this reduction represents a 20% incentive. If you can go from $10 to $8 per $1,000 of construction value, that we feel is a substantial incentive for potential applicants to the building permit process to rely on coordinating professionals, such as an architect or an engineer, which was heavily discussed at our Development Process Improvement Committee meeting, and it's what we're recommending to be included in the proposed bylaw. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. Oh, sorry, I do want to point out one thing. We also had a late request from the fire chief late last week, and I'm also asking that the proposed bylaw that's in front of council today to be further amended, actually, and perhaps following first reading as a revision by council to remove the proposed charge for a fireworks permit. The comment from our fire chief was that this may discourage people from submitting a fireworks permit, and they want to ensure that any fireworks being discharged within the district is following proper safety protocols and under his review and management. So his recommendation was to remove the fireworks permit from the fee schedule, which was proposed, I believe, at $30, I believe. So we're recommending that be, $50. So we're recommending that be revised and amended following first, but prior to second and third reading, Your Worship. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Brad? Councillor Barkwell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was wondering what proportion of the permits are submitted by professionals that would be subject to the discount, and what proportion are not? Just a ballpark guess, I'm sure, is all you can do.
Yeah, that's a tough, through Your Worship, to Councillor Barkwell, that is a tough question to answer. It really depends on the type of development or construction that's being proposed. Most single-family dwellings don't require professional lines, but a lot are now requiring it, and especially some larger homes requiring an architect and an engineer to be involved. So the trend, I would say, more so is relying on those coordinating professionals, and there is a bit of an easier time for us within our building inspection team to manage those files moving forward, rather than an owner-built home, let's say, that does not have an architect or engineer involved. So I would say 50%, maybe a little more than that, is a trend going up with the type of permits that we're receiving. Definitely, if it's a deck or an accessory building, those are the type of permits that wouldn't require a professional to be involved.
Councillor Patton, you didn't have a question?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good, thank you. Councillor Holmes.
Yeah, thank you. For the temporary use permit renewals, how would if a temporary use permit had lapsed and they didn't apply for a renewal in time, how would that be considered? Would that be considered a new one they'd have to apply for, or would that be considered renewal? And I guess related to this, and we've had a couple of examples of that in the last 5 years or so of this happening. I guess whose responsibility is it to ensure that it is renewed? Is it the permit holder, or is it us, giving them notification that their renewal is about to come up?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Holmes, thank you. That's a great question. I think my interpretation and suggestion that if the expiry was to occur and a renewal application was not submitted prior to the expiry date, that we would treat it as a new application. However, I think just good customer service would dictate us providing that notification that your temporary use permit is about to expire well in advance of that expiry date. I know that's been something that hasn't been done here in the past, but if we get into managing more temporary use permits moving forward, especially with the recent changes the council have made to our zoning bylaw, I think we should get better at providing notification to an operator with TUP, a temporary use permit, that there'll be an expiry looming. And then if they fail to meet that expiry, then we would treat it as a new application.
Any other questions? I have one for you, Brad. When you were mentioning being cautious on increasing development charges because of the rise in the cost. I certainly understand that, and I agree with you limiting that. I'm wondering if there will be a time, though, when another review will be done. From what I've been hearing, and I don't think anyone really has a crystal ball, but from what I've been hearing, the costs are almost certainly going to regulate and to come down and regularize, I guess. I'm wondering if at that time there would be another review process.
Just to clarify that, are you talking about a building permit fee review of our current fee?
I think it was probably the first thing that you spoke about, and I'm sorry I didn't get that particular one written down. The Development Process Improvement Committee was concerned that because there already is an increase because of the increased costs and construction costs, and I'm sorry, I don't remember which one of the costs it was. Was it the building permit? Okay. So I'm wondering if as construction costs start to moderate or stabilize, I guess is a better word, if there will be another review of the permit fees.
Well, currently we don't have it on our work plan to review the building permit fee other than, today's proposed amendments. We do recognize that it's always as part of our good governance priorities to review our fees and charges to ensure we're current with other municipalities as best we can. Now saying that, I know that there has been some other jurisdictions that have increased their fee within our region. I know the RDOS actually just recently increased their flat fee. I'm not saying that should be considered immediately, but and we do have to keep ourselves in comparison with other jurisdictions as well. So I think it would be depending on council priority if they want to open up that discussion.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, could I have someone bring forward the recommendation, please? Councillor Barkw or Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That the fees and charges amendment bylaw, development services fees and mobile beach vending fees number 2021-025 be read a first, second, and third time.
You want this read just the first time, right? And then the fireworks? Okay. So you're okay with reading it just the first time
Just the
now?
first
And
time.
then, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I'll come back to you.
No problem at all.
Okay, seconder, Councillor Holmes. Any further discussion? I'll call the question on that first reading. All in favor? Thank you. And then Brad, could you just repeat the extra thing that's in this next one?
I'll just jump in there, Madam Mayor. To incorporate the change for the deletion of the fee for the fireworks, a recommendation for council to consider would be that the fees and charges amendment bylaw, development service fees and mobile beach vending fees number 2021-25 be amended at first reading by deleting the fee for the fireworks permit in Schedule D.
Thank you. So, Councillor Barkw?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Holmes, and further discussion on these. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. And then we'll get back to the second and third reading. Councillor Patton?
Shall I read it again, or?
I think we're good.
We're good?
Yeah, so you're moving that second and third
For
reading?
second and third reading.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And seconder? Councillor Carlson? Any further discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Thanks, Brad. And on to the next one. 7.2, Advisory Planning Commission Amendment Bylaw.
Thank you, Your Worship. The district has established an advisory planning commission bylaw 94-002, which establishes our APC, our advisory planning commission, and sets out the terms of reference of the commission, including items such as the number of members, the composition of members, and the procedures that are in governing the conduct of the commission, as well as the items to be referred to the commission. We recently had the expiry of 6 of the current 9 members of the APC terms end on June 8th. And then we posted notice in the Summerland Review and also in our website and Facebook page of the seeking additional members to APC. The district, following this advertising period, we've only received the reappointment of 4 of the existing members, and no new members submitted an application to the district for the APC. As a result, there are currently only 2 members sitting on the APC, and with the potential addition of 4 reappointments, the total number of APC members would only be brought up to 6 members. As well, Section 3 of the APC bylaw states that the council can only reappoint any member to the commission for only 1 additional term. And for 2 of the potential reappointees, this would be their 3rd term and therefore could not be eligible as per the bylaw. So for a number of these reasons that I've just listed, staff are proposing council consider an amendment to the Advisory Planning Commission bylaw in an effort to provide more flexibility to the Advisory Planning Commission and to council in the number of members that can sit on the APC, and also the number of times that an existing member can be reappointed by council to the APC. So just a summary of the changes we're recommending and included within the amendment bylaw. We're recommending that there be a minimum of 5 members and a maximum of 11 members. Instead of right now, it's a prescriptive amount of 10 members only, not a range. As well, the bylaw requires representation from the agricultural community and also representation from the school district. And staff note that we already have an advisory committee to council for the agricultural industry, and we currently do not have a member representing that area, as well as the school district. So we're recommending that those requirements be struck from the APC bylaw. And then, like I've already mentioned, amending Section 3 to allow council to reappoint any member of the commission for an additional 3-year term for an undefined number of terms. So if council so chooses, they may reappoint those individuals. And happy to take any questions on this amendment bylaw.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Carlson.
My question is, can you please explain the difference between a committee and a commission?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you, Councillor Carlson. The committees that council has established, they've established through terms of reference, which gives them their mandate, and council has the ability to establish any committee they so choose. An advisory planning commission is a specific type of commission that's actually legislated within the Local Government Act that is has the ability to provide a resource to council and as a local land use type of body to provide recommendation and advice. That commission can make decisions as well. It's not. It can be an advisory body, but the council can delegate to the Advisory Planning Commission certain powers to aid it in decision making under Local Government Act. So there's more legislative authority out with the commission versus a committee, and we have to establish the commission through bylaw versus just a terms of reference under the LGA.
Thank you. So just to follow up on that then, I'm interested in why we would see not needing agricultural representation on our commission. My understanding is that in past, we've always had a commission and council has chosen not to have an agricultural advisory committee for whatever reason, whether they saw redundancy, I don't know, but I just wondering why why we wouldn't want agricultural representation when the Advisory Planning Commission deals with a lot of agricultural land reserve regulation and changes, and Summerland, our land base is agricultural. So I'm just wondering staff's recommendation for what reason?
Yeah, through the chair, thank you for the question again. I'm not aware of the history with the Agriculture Advisory Committee and whether it's been used or not used in the past, but I know currently we are using it as our an advisory body for all land use applications that deal with agricultural land within the community, in and around agricultural land actually. And so therefore any land use application that impacts agricultural land is going to the Agriculture Advisory Committee, and as per the council's terms of reference established for that committee. I believe the Advisory Planning Commission was bylaw was established maybe when the committee wasn't in place at the time in '94. In terms of this is the year the bylaw was established, so perhaps at that time it made sense to have an agricultural representative on the commission, but given that the Agriculture Advisory Committee is currently quite active, we are heavily reliant on it for advice to council. We don't see that there would be a need for agriculture representation on the APC as well.
Councillor Barkwood?
Further to that question and discussion, I think that council appoints the members of the APC, and it may happen that maybe somebody who you might consider being a member or representative of the agricultural committee hasn't applied, and then what do you do if you haven't sort of fulfilled that requirement in the bylaw? I think that given the opportunity, council will probably choose among all the applicants and want to include representatives from that community, but I don't think we want to necessarily bind ourselves to that requirement. So it can still happen, just don't create problems, I guess, by making it a requirement.
Councillor Holmes?
Thank you. I agree in terms of we want to have flexibility in the composition and the size of the commission. My question is more I guess about the indefinite amount of time you can spend on the committee. My concern would be that this allows people to get entrenched into the committee, into their positions, and doesn't create room for new people and new ideas to come in, which I think is one of the problems we're trying to solve here. And again, I think we're not addressing that problem. And to me, it probably comes down to communication again. Putting an ad that nobody's going to read into a newspaper that nobody's going to read is probably not the best way to do it. So I think we need to address how do we attract more people to apply to be on these committees, as opposed to addressing it by saying, oh, well, you can stay on for as long as you want. So that's just my comment, and there's a question there somewhere, I'm sure.
I'll try to answer that question.
Yes, go ahead.
I think that it doesn't, the proposed amendments to the bylaw just provide additional flexibility to council. So council can so choose to not reappoint one of the reappointees if they so choose. But given that we have a lack of uptake and interest, and communication is perhaps a different issue within the Advisory Planning Commission. Some of the members that do have interest that are currently seeking reappointment, they've gained a lot of knowledge through being on the APC, and I think it would be a loss to not have them sit on the commission due to a technicality within the bylaw. So this is, I think every single person that puts their name forward can be reviewed and analyzed by council and determine if it's appropriate for them to be put forward for appointment again. And these amendments just propose flexibility for council to do so.
Thank you. I realize that we're talking about specifically about the APC, and it's a commission, as Councillor Carlson just pointed out. I'm wondering if maybe we could look a little bit at the committees and the terms of reference that govern committees. As you know, because you've participated in it, all of staff has been through bullying and harassment training, and council has been through it as well. And I was thinking that with the council committees being committees of council, that perhaps this kind of training should be something that is extended to committee members as well, and that it be part of the criteria for sitting on a committee. My concern is, and this comes from conversations I've had over the last number of years, is that there are times when there is somebody on a committee that is not necessarily respectful at the table as we are expected to be respectful at this table. And because it is a committee of council, is that something that maybe we could consider? So I'm talking to you about it, Brad, right now, but this is, I guess, a consideration of council, and if there would be any wish to discuss this further at another time. Councillor Carlson?
I think that there's a general training that has been missing from perhaps how to run a meeting, what the protocols are in these committee meetings, and maybe through that process, whether it's annually or at the start of every term, I think that including a component of bullying and harassment might make sense, but having a full 2-hour session maybe isn't going to be required. But I do think that better introduction to what is expected and how a decision made at a committee table might affect council, what the rules are, how the councillor liaison can participate, all of the things, who can speak at the meeting, whether the public can speak, things like that. I think that the chairs of each committee and the members need to be perhaps better initiated into this process. And so I think what you're speaking of falls directly into that.
Thank you, Councillor Carlson. I'm just going to ask the question of you, Dallas. Is what Councillor Carlson brought up just now, her suggestion, would that be something that needs to be in the terms of reference as well as more of an all-encompassing training opportunity, educational opportunity, or how would that fit?
Thank you. And it honestly depends the will of council. If you wanted to make sure that the full bullying and harassment training applied to all committees, we do have options. We do have the council procedures bylaw, which does a blanket apply to all committees of council. So if you wanted to be incorporated by bylaw to apply to all, that could be a mechanism to do so, or we could work it into the orientation and training packages for each committee. The one thing we do have on our list is to review the terms of reference for the committees as we get to moments like this when we have members expiring as an opportunity. We just did it a couple months ago via resolution for another committee. So there is different mechanisms. So I guess I would just need to know council's preference of what you'd like us to bring forward. We do have an amendment coming forward to the council procedures bylaw, I think by August 23rd, to incorporate the changes to the electronic meetings that was discussed at a meeting or two ago. So that is an opportunity that if you wanted to discuss it then we could do that.
Okay, Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too would like to discuss it. One of the things that I would like to know with other municipalities all around us, dissolving committees and commissions. So my question is what is the benefit? Is it, could we look at a reduction of the bureaucratic process and cut process times based on council and staff making decisions without having a quasi third party being involved in the decision-making process. And so I'm kind of on the other end of it. I'm kind of wondering, you know, where we're going to, and again, you know, what the true benefit is for the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Patton. Is there anybody else that would like to comment? Okay, so there's three of us at least that have commented. I'm wondering if, oh, Councillor Traynor.
Yeah, I guess I'll just add in that I think some form of bully training is pretty much becoming standard and expected. And I think it's a really good refresher for people who have taken it, and then just good reminders for people who haven't taken it, and they might learn something as well. And I don't think it can hurt. And then if we do some kind of training, then people know the expectations. And I think that can't hurt at all. So like I said, I think it's becoming standard, you know, in local government and workplaces everywhere. So I think people who apply to the committees would be open to that.
Thank you, Councillor Traynor. So could this be part of the discussion on August 23rd's meeting on the agenda when we're talking about the procedures, council procedures bylaw? Sorry, I always do that. CAO stat.
Thank you, Mayor Boot. We can certainly draft the procedures bylaw with some language that would try to capture what council has talked about, at least in concept today, and then it could be debated further at that time. It would, just listening to the two options our corporate officer put forward, I would recommend that if it's a desire of council to start with the procedures bylaw as the overarching piece, because otherwise we'd have a patchwork quilt as terms of references are reviewed over time, and not really an equitable or consistent approach to how we're dealing with our council committees.
Good, thank you. And then one other question on behalf of Councillor Patton. And I should know this, but I don't. The procedures bylaw, does that include a list of council committees?
The committees are not listed in the bylaw, just words about their code of conduct, and that the bylaw applies for their proceedings at meetings. Each committee is just established by separate either terms of reference or by bylaw and circumstances like the EPC.
Okay. So when might we be able to have that? Like, when would it fit to have that kind of discussion?
A discussion on the number of committees and just the process of moving forward of which ones you would like to assess them.
Yeah, I know that there are a couple, you know, we've talked a little bit about the Water Advisory Committee, we've talked about the Sister City Committee, and I think there was a third one. And those kind of had just been out there, but we've never really had that discussion. So I don't think we need to, you know, decide or talk about it any further now, but go ahead, Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would, we flagged it, it's on our radar, so we understand a discussion needs to be had, and I would sort of time that maybe more towards September. There are some holidays and other things that are challenging our timelines for immediate decision-making of council priorities. But we can, you know, do a bit of a check-in on, a bit of a governance check-in, I guess, on where, if it's the right makeup. Because certainly it's within power of council to disband committees that council has set up or create new ones. However, as Brad did note, our development of services, this particular item of today, I think we all know with the APC, that ties back to more of a charter requirement. But in terms of the council committees that have been created, maybe we can target that for a time, perhaps in September.
Does that sound good, Councillor Pat?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, good. All right. So getting back to the matter at hand, and I apologize for bringing that into this. We have yet to vote on this. Are there any other questions for Brad before we bring the motion to the floor? Okay, I'll ask someone to do that, please, to make the motion. Councillor Holmes.
The Advisory Planning Commission Amendment Bylaw number 2021-029, members and appointments be provided first, second, and third reading.
And a seconder. Councillor Trainer. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
I did
Councillor
have
Carlson.
Thank you. I just want to say that I won't be voting in favor of this. I think that it's been established over the last few minutes of conversation why it's important that we keep representation from our agricultural community on this commission. If this commission is in a bylaw and the terms of reference and the actual information in the bylaw suggests that we need to have agricultural representation because our community is an agricultural community, the alternative, I believe, will be that we'll have a agricultural planning commission that is a lot of, obviously there'll be local people, but perhaps more developers, more realtors, more folks who would not see the benefit of the agricultural land reserve, let alone farmland in general. So I just want to recognize that council could, with a pen strike, get rid of the Agricultural Advisory Committee. It's not quite as easy to get rid of the Agricultural Planning Commission, and so I think that ensuring that the commission respects the agricultural community remains of utmost importance.
Thank you, Councillor Carlson. Any further comment or discussion? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? And opposed? That is a tie vote, so it's defeated, right? And I voted for the same reasons as Councillor Carlson just said with the agricultural piece. Councillor Carlson, would you like to bring forward another motion?
So as that was the only thing I see in this that does cause an issue, I don't know if you need to make an amendment to what's written here. Because I mean, I'd be happy to move a new bylaw, but maybe we can ensure that the agricultural membership is retained. And then I would move that. Brad?
Brad?
Yeah, if I may, Council, to help you out, I think that staff would recommend that we would amend this bylaw with the proposed change with Councillor Carlson included, with the inclusion of the representation from the agricultural community. And with that, I'd advise Council that you'd provide first reading, and then similar to what we just did with this fees and charges bylaw, provide a revision to the drafted bylaw with the inclusion of agricultural representation, and then second and third reading following that.
Okay, so let's do that. We'll have, so that was first, second, and third reading. That was defeated. So let's look at, if someone could bring forward first reading. Councillor Carlson.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Trainer. Any further discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? You're good? I didn't see your hand. Okay, I wasn't sure. And now the amendment then to keep the agricultural representative on the APC. And this is for second and third reading.
And just to just to clarify, so that would still allow for the changes of 5 members as a minimum and 11 as a maximum, instead of the prescriptive 10 only. Remove the requirement for representation from the school district, and then also in Section 3, amending Section 3 to allow council to reappoint any member of the commission for a 3-year term for an undefined number of terms.
Correct. Seconder, Councillor Trainer. Any further discussion on this? Councillor Holmes.
Question, if I may. Who would determine if somebody's a representative from the agriculture industry? I'm not sure how it works now. Is it council that decides that they're representing the agricultural industry?
Yeah, to answer that through the chair to Councillor Holmes, that's correct. We would seek a representative from the agriculture industry, but it'd be up to council to decide that yes, that this individual does represent the agricultural community within the district of Summerland before appointing it.
As indicated on their application, right? Yeah. Councillor Holmes.
Just to follow up then, and if we don't get an application from the agricultural industry, we're not contravening the bylaw, it's just there's nothing you do about it, I presume.
Yeah, through the chair, Councillor Holmes, I think that is a situation that we might find ourselves in. I think we could try to re-advertise or maybe perhaps use contacts that we know of within the community to see if we can find someone to sit on the APC. But we would, because the bylaw states that we require representation, we should be trying to find that representation.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Sorry, excuse me, Madam Mayor. There is a way we could craft the bylaw to allow for a little flexibility with the agricultural representative. Instead of stating in the bylaw that the representative shall be from the agricultural industry, we could say wherever possible, or it should. And then if we were in a circumstance where we received applications that didn't meet that parameter, council would still be able to move forward with appointing remaining members of the commission if they so wish.
Does that sound okay, Councillor Holmes?
Oh, I don't have an issue.
Okay. Anything else before I call the question? All in favor? And none opposed. Thank you. Thank you, Brad.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. So that was for the motion to make the amendment at first reading, and now we just need a motion for second and third as amended.
That was it.
That was the middle part. So we did first reading, and then we moved the motion to amend at first reading, and then we require a second and third motion as amended.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that we had done that. Okay, so
I will move the second and third reading of this bylaw number 2021-029.
thank you. Seconder, Councillor Trainer. Okay, again, further discussion. All in favor? Thank you. Thank you. I guess I got a little ahead of myself, Dallas. Okay, on to item 7.3, Arts and Cultural Center Renovation Project 2021 Budget Amendment. And Graham is going to introduce this.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just a bit of an update to council, as you'll see in your report. We are moving along at a good clip with the Arts and Cultural Center renovation, which we are quite excited about, and I'm sure the community is as well. Things are on track for a September completion. However, as is often the case in working in an older facility, sometimes you discover some things you didn't expect, and in this case, in opening up some of the walls, which the architect had believed were in fact fire rated. They are not fire rated, and they need to be. And as a result of primarily that change order, we are going to need additional dollars. We've done some solutioning to figure out where some of those dollars may come from. And thankfully, another cultural related project, the museum roof replacement, had a savings of $35,000. Then it would reduce what we would need in terms of additional money from the land sale reserve to $36,000. And we are confident, given the stage that we are at, about 2/3 done, that we don't anticipate any other major issues. We're monitoring this very closely, and any additional change order, our Director of Development Service and myself will be reviewing them together and personally keeping a close eye on the remaining steps of the project. And with that, I'll just ask if our Director of Development Services, Mr. Donovan, has any additional comments.
No, thanks, Graham, for presenting it. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Okay, are there questions? Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one. In the report, it talks about the COVID's had a direct impact on the delivery of supplies, materials, and equipment. Are we looking at price increases based on a tendered project that was tendered, and now they're coming back at us and saying, you know what, now that this 2x4, it's not 2x4, but went from $2 to $9, we want more money?
Just to answer that one, sorry, Councillor Patton, I think you might be looking at the previous report that was February 8th, where we did have a price increase due to the bids that were submitted, and that's the first time we came back on this project and asked for additional funding. But no, we have a contract in place that's a defined amount with our contractor.
Thank you. Yes, I did open up the February 8th. Sorry about that.
Councillor Carlson.
Thank you. When this project is complete, how will members of the public be able to rent and utilize this new facility that is going to be a really great spot for different cultural activities?
Thank you for your question through the chair. Thank you for your question, Councillor Carlson. And I'll speak a little bit to that. My Director of Community Services is on a well-deserved annual vacation at the current time, but I'm familiar with the arrangement that we are working on. And absolutely, there will be space that is available in that center dedicated for the ability of the public and organizations to rent in an affordable way. This updated and renovated space, and good information available for how they are able to access that opportunity. It's one of the reasons why we have experienced some significant public interest in the renovations that are taking place, and are working hard to complete them.
Thank you, Councillor Carlson. Any other questions? Okay, could I have someone bring forward a motion, please, on the budget amendment? Councillor Barkle.
I move that a total of, I better put my glasses on to make sure I get this right, $35,000 of funding be reallocated from the museum roof replacement capital project to the Arts and Cultural Center renovation project, and that an additional amount of $36,000 be allocated from the land sale reserve to the Arts and Cultural Center renovation project. And further, that staff prepare a bylaw to amend the financial plan 2021 to 2025 bylaw number 2021-001 to incorporate these changes.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Holmes? Any further discussion? All in favor? And I don't see any opposed. Thank you. And now we get started on our quarterly updates. We are a little bit ahead of time, so that's great. We are going to be taking a short 10-minute break partway through. Slide 15, I think, is how it's been termed. So I will pass this over to you, Graham. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I feel compelled to do the Monty Python and now for something completely different. So we are glad to report our Q2 updates today. And as just to remind Council on slide 1 here, we have the, I guess you'd call them the bubbles, which represent the overarching umbrellas, sort of headings of council's priorities: infrastructure investment, good governance, community resilience, alternative energy, active lifestyles, and downtown vibrancy. Moving to the next slide. There is sort of under those headings, under those bubbles, various and sundry priorities that council has identified that do focus the work and energy of the administration. And what we'll be doing today is walking through the second quarter update for every single one of those specific priorities. So essentially, we'll have one slide for each of the priorities. And to keep things moving on a pretty good clip, we'll really be speaking to the activity that specifically occurred in that quarter. And then, of course, if council has clarification or questions or desires additional information, we can herald back to the priority itself and slow down on that slide. But the focus for today is focusing on that second quarter update. In some cases, you'll notice in the next steps column, things are listed as next steps that have in fact occurred rather. And the reason why that is the case is because those things have occurred, but they occurred in what is now the third quarter. So in the third quarter update, they'll move up into the sort of past tense activity column and so on and so forth. So with that, I will get things started with Jeremy Storvold, who will be speaking to asset management. And Jeremy, who is our general manager of utilities, is covering off right now also in the director of infrastructure and works position, because, as you know, Chris Johnson, our longtime individual, had been covering that position, has a new job and has moved on. And we're just in that time period between somebody leaving and somebody else being selected. And during this time, Jeremy has graciously been acting. And so with your permission, Madam Mayor, we can get started right on the slides.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and CAO staff. So starting off with asset management, priority 1.1. This is to continue to advance the district's asset management program and complete items on the asset management roadmap. One of those items is for 2021 is training. So we did do some training. That was the Director of Works and Infrastructure, Director of Finance, and General Manager of Utilities. We did some level of service workshops, took about 6 weeks. Really good training, provide us with some good tools to assess level of service and to plan for changes to level of service. So we'll be incorporating those into our asset management plans going forward. We also completed a GIS needs assessment. That included a roadmap for our GIS system and next steps to include items like replacing the SQL server. Any questions there? Great. So the next slide, 10-year capital plan. Thank you. So this is priority 1.2. It's to create a 10-year capital plan for road and water main improvements. This is on our list for 2022. Currently no activity for Q2 2021. And we'll begin this process in next year.
Afternoon, Madam Mayor. I'm taking a couple of them just so he doesn't get too stressed out here in this temporary position. Priority 1.3, Giants Head Road and water system improvements. So we established the scope of work for the full water system separation. And I believe it went back to council to have an option to do the road only. And that's what we're currently working on with the engineer. Any questions on that?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, looks like we can go ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry for interrupting.
Thank you. Yeah, and just a delayed introduction there, Martin Stam, Manager of Works. Yeah. So the next one, priority 1.5, I believe. Oh no, 1.4. Voltage conversion, the best initiative we have. No. So that's my electrical background coming up. So for voltage conversion, we're still waiting for the ICIP grant results, and currently no action on this project, and we're just on standby waiting for those results.
1.5, road condition assessment. There's been no activity on the condition assessment itself. It will probably have to be repeated again in maybe another 6 to 10 years. But it has been a very helpful tool for questions from the public. They all feel their road is the #1 priority, and based on this, we've been able to explain to them that there's a lot of backlog in our infrastructure that needs to be maintained. And then ultimately, we are going to combine this in that 10-year road and water main capital plan to weigh all the different options, all the different replacement of the underground infrastructure as well as the surface.
Councillor Carlson.
Thank you. So when the public suggests that, you know, the roads are awful and we need to fix all of these potholes and nothing ever gets done, is there somewhere that they can be directed to see the works that have actually occurred over the last year or two in terms of what roads have been either repaved or have had sections redone? Is that something that they would simply be directed to Public Works for an answer, or do we have some public information available?
I don't believe we have anything that's public, but if there are any questions, they can contact our department, yeah.
That's what I always do. Sorry, Martin. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and sorry to put you on the spot here, Martin, but another question that had come up last time, I don't know if Chris had an opportunity to chase it down, but I believe it was Councillor Holmes had raised in the Q1 updates. To what extent can we give the public the condition assessment results as well so they understand the condition assessment? Are those posted publicly? If not, can we?
I'm not sure if it can be posted publicly. It's on a website that's run through the engineering firm that did the works, but we can extract information from that, so we can have lists that just show condition assessments and all that. But at the same time, the condition assessment doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to go from the worst road to the best road. When we do the repairs, we also have to take into account the road use, how much, what's the traffic volumes. Is it a dead-end road? There's a whole bunch of other information we need to consider when we do that, as well as the underground infrastructure. But we can certainly, if there are questions, we have lots of information we can provide to clarify why a road may not be a priority at the moment.
Councillor Patton.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is there a chance that we could let the public know, whether it be through our newsletter, however we can get that info out, on the road works that we are conducting this year? So we've done Canyon View, where we've repaved up there. We've replaced some water main up there, but a lot of our citizens don't realize the amount of work that we did up there. So, and I realize that we do have some other road works that are happening this year. So is there a chance that we can put that in our newsletter, just to let our citizens know what we do have coming up, so that, you know, when they are driving around town, it's like, oh, the district's not doing anything with our roads this year, you know, and maybe we can be just a little bit more proactive in that regard. Thanks.
Suggestion there is noted.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through to Councillor Patton, we could certainly look into that. And I think what I heard from you on that, just to reflect it back, not only what's coming, but also what we've done this cycle.
Absolutely. I think if they know what we've done this year to date, it would really be reflective on the work that our public works is doing. Thanks.
Councillor Holmes and then Councillor Trainer.
Yeah, thank you. It doesn't make sense to me that we have all this information and we don't tell anybody. I agree with, I mean, we don't have to give them the whole engineering report on every single road, but I think, and it doesn't make sense that every time somebody complains about a road that we have to then forward it on to Martin or Graham, and it takes away from, it's quite a take away from their work. Really, it ought to be on the website, every single road in Summerland. You go to that and just a short synopsis on what the road condition assessment says about it. What's being, if it's being repaved, then that's on there. It's just basic information to give to the public about what's happening with that road. Where is it? And certainly all those things that Mr. Stab just said about all the explanations of, it's not just that all these things have to be considered. That should be on there too. I mean, we should be informing people about what goes into repairing roads and what we're doing about it. I think we're not doing that.
Martin, did you say, and correct me if I just misunderstood what you said, that the information is on a server outside of the district? It's with the organization that did the road condition assessment, and that's why you were wondering whether or not there would be public access to it? Is that what you were saying?
That is correct. Yes, we have full access with a username, but I'm not 100% sure how we can extract that information to get it onto our website, but perhaps that's something we can look into and work with different departments here.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for clarifying that. Councillor Trainer, you're next, and then Councillor Barkwell.
I like Councillor Holmes' idea of being able to click on a street and kind of find out the current status, but plans also change, so I would worry that we would put something in there like that project's in the queue or something like that, because we do have to have the flexibility to be able to change things if other projects come up. But I think like some kind of fact sheet on our website, and I'm sure when Martin gets the calls, he probably just goes through what he just told us, but just kind of general information about our roads and the process for why we choose certain roads when they're done. And like you said, why some that seem like they're in really bad condition are still in bad condition and aren't a priority because they might be a dead end or they're not used as much. I think that's really important information for people to know. And then when we do a project, doing a good job of showcasing that we're doing it. So if we're starting something, getting a photo of that, like of staff starting to tear up the road, putting that on social media, putting that in our newsletter, and telling the story about like, in 2021, we said we were going to do this road. We're starting it now, and we have done that, and it's been really good. But I think when people see pictures and they see, staff out doing things, then like what Councillor Patton said about Canyon View, like telling that story. It doesn't have to be a big story, just a couple lines about like, we started this project here, we're anticipating it'll be finished here, because then people are like, oh yeah, they are doing things. And I think we could work towards having more information about each road, but I think a good place to start would just be like a general information page on our website that just talks about the different concepts that go into determining which roads get done at what times. Thanks.
Councillor Barkwell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was going to say much the same as Councillor Trainer. If we could at least have the general information, maybe this image to show that we are doing something, that there is a plan, and listing as Councillor Patton said, the work that's being done this year and the works that was done last year. There was an email we got not so long ago where Chris Johnson had outlined all the areas that were paved last year. And when I had an inquiry, I forwarded that same email and said, look, this is a pretty good list. So last year's list, this year's list, and the background information would all be helpful on the website, I think. Because that's, everybody talks about roads, right? We all get more inquiries about roads than probably anything else. So, yeah, let's address it.
Okay, any other questions or comments on that? All right, on to priority 1.6.
Slide, please. Enias Creek. So we're working with a consultant on the applications, all the permitting for the works. We just a couple of weeks ago, we had a couple of meetings with someone from the ministry who pointed out that they're very much by the book, and sometimes we just need to change some minor wording, which will then make a difference between being successful with the application or having it denied. So that was good. So it's slowly progressing. Works we did do during the installation of gabion baskets that was 2018, I think. There was significant damage to private irrigation, and that was still not functioning. So we were able to secure the funds, and we have that all repaired. It was a significant project.
Any questions? Okay. On to the Eisentalk Dam upgrades.
Thank you. So this is replacement of low-level outlet pipe and the investigation of raising the dam structure, including the geotechnical. In Q2, we did have some activity. So we have the application approved for our ICIP funding at 1.8 million. And it closed the tender for construction, which was awarded to Dent Construction Limited. So for next steps, just quickly, we will be going out there in August and starting construction. So that's where that one's at.
Any questions? Councillor Barkwell.
There was a notice about access to the area will be closed. When was that? Were those dates? Yeah, I think was it in the newsletter or something? Yeah. Nobody. I'll look that up. Okay. I was hoping somebody else would remember because I couldn't remember, and I know it's a popular place to go camping and such.
Yeah, part of the project does include improvements to the access road there, so it is being pretty well rebuilt along from when you come off the main trunk road.
Okay, on to 1.8, Trout Creek Flume.
Thank you. So this is replacement of the existing open channel concrete flume with a buried pipe system to convey water from Trout Creek to the Summerland Reservoir, including replacement of the existing water intake structure to meet the fish regulatory requirements. Activity in Q2. We did revise some of the drawings based on our environmental review, and we started our electrical design as well. Those drawings are around a 95% stage at this point. And currently, for Q2, we're currently still waiting for the ICIP grant announcement.
Looks like you can go on. Oh, Graham.
I think we may have just found out today, Madam Mayor, that we weren't successful on that, but I'm going to do a double, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you for
Okay.
bringing that forward. Wasn't sure if we were going to jump into
Yeah.
Q3.
Yeah, spoiler alert, Q3. Unfortunately, we were not successful on that grant. We just found out moments before the meeting. The only other thing I was going to add is further to Councillor Barksville question on the Eisentalk Lake closure. Yeah, water levels being lowered. This is out of the newsletter. That's to allow the fish salvage and construction. So between mid-July to late October, access to the Eisentalk Lake and Forest Recreation Site will be closed, and signs are posted regarding the areas that are blocked.
Councillor Carlson.
Thank you. I have a quick question about the flume. I think we've applied for grants half a dozen times since we've been on council in 2014 to try and get the flume grant funded. I'm just wondering, at what point do we need to fund this project and get it done?
Thank you, Councillor Carlson, through the chair. So that needs to be assessed as part of our asset management strategy and looked at holistically. Eventually on some of these projects, we do need to pull the trigger and fund it ourselves. Some projects can sit there and we can apply every year, and you also, we don't know what's coming down the pipe either with provincial or federal funding with other programs. So as an example, the voltage conversion project, sorry to bring us back to that one, but there is money coming down the pipe, so we hear around electric vehicle charging. So maybe we can move that project forward using that sort of grant. So you can get some different angles on these projects, but we'll certainly be looking at the Trail Creek flume now that we've missed the grant opportunity again, and seeing what we need to do for our 10-year program. Mm-hmm.
Councillor Barkwill.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a couple of questions or thoughts on the intake and the flume question. I wonder if the intake is more of a priority than the flume or vice versa. It sounds like there's environmental considerations with fish protection or something, although I guess they can swim down the flume to the other lake. But and whether the flume couldn't be daylighted into just a creek, which is, and there's examples of that in other places, and you know that it's a creek. Keep it a creek until it hits the intake or the lake, the reservoir. That can that be considered? You know, and maybe there's extra different grants for that because it's more of an environmental project.
Thank you, Councillor Barkwill, through the chair. My understanding is the flume itself is our main item of concern, and anyone who knows better than I do can feel free to speak up. But my understanding is that that piece of infrastructure is degrading to the point where it needs to be replaced. Can we do it with another creek? Sort of, I think you're suggesting potentially some cost savings, do something that's not a underground pipe, but sort of a creek style. We can look at that. Maybe it's been already looked at, but I'll check on that.
I understand there's a section where it goes underneath the road that maybe you might want to have a pipe just in case there's an accident there or something like that. But other than that, you know, a quick preliminary sort of a look, and actually I've got some examples of this type of daylighting that I've saved over the years, and I'll forward them to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? It's good thought, Councillor Barkwill. Something to be explored. Okay, I guess we're on to priority 1.9.
The organics processing facility. So the design tender is ready. It's with the procurement department now, expected to go out fairly soon. And then there's a second portion to that is the curbside collection that needs to be adjusted as well. Once pricing comes in, I believe it's going to come back to council for discussion and final decision.
Okay, on to 1.10.
Okay, watershed management. So this strategic priority is to bring together some of the different plans we have for our watershed. It says a comprehensive watershed management plan to ensure all activities in the watershed do not negatively impact the district's water supply. No activity in Q2 on this, but for next steps, we are going to be looking at the district's source water assessment and updating that.
Okay, and no questions on that one, I guess. 1.11, perpetual slide.
So we received direction from council to replace the water main, and we are just finalizing that design for that. I expect that it's going to go out for tender in the next 2 months or something. And I'm not sure if you guys were aware, Trout Creek Steering Committee, it's a group that Chris was working with that are looking at the section down near the bottom where it comes out of the canyon. There are plans there to install some sediment ponds, meander the creek a little bit more. I'll have to study up on that a little bit more because I haven't been involved, but I think that's going to land on my plate now. So can't give you a whole lot more information about that for now.
Okay, questions on this? Okay. Oh, I've lost my. So 1.12, watershed management. That's the one we just talked about. No, perpetual slide we have. Deer Ridge Sewer.
Deer Ridge Sewer is tied to the Eco Village, and as well as the current Deer Ridge area. We have some information about failing septic systems, and that could then also work in the benefit for future development of that area. The drawings are pretty much ready, but I think it's waiting now. I think it's running through Brad for the Eco Village.
Any questions on that one? Eco Village, I think, is coming back to us in August, right? Yeah. Okay. So we're ready for a break from now until 2:30. Just under 11 minutes. Oh, we even have a slide. Thank you.